To question 5 of the test 3 review, it says a volume of air has a temperature of 0 degrees Celsius, right? So you have a certain volume of air, 0 degrees Celsius. An equal volume of air that is twice as hot has a temperature of what? So another equal volume of air, this one is twice as hot. Twice as hot. So what is its temperature? Over here, this is pretty tricky. We are trying to understand what do we mean when we say twice as hot. Okay? So if something is 0 degrees Celsius, twice of 0 is what? 0? 2 times 0? Okay, so this is also 0 degrees Celsius. So the important thing to remember is that these kinds of things, when you're analyzing them, you have to be in degree Kelvin. You have to be in Kelvin temperature scale, not the Celsius temperature scale. The Celsius temperature scale is just some arbitrary scale so that 0 degree Celsius happens to correspond to the boiling point of water at standard temperature and pressure, right? So it's just an arbitrary scale. What's the real scale of temperature? Well, the real scale of temperature is Kelvin. Why is this the real scale of temperature? Because 0 Kelvin happens to correspond to the coldest temperature where the molecular motion of atoms stops, right? 0 Kelvin. If you're 0 Kelvin, the molecules are so cold that they don't even have any kind of motion, right? So it's so hard to get to 0 Kelvin that it's basically impossible, right? So how many Kelvin is 0 degrees Celsius? When we say 0 Celsius, what does that correspond to? Well, Kelvin, remember, is Celsius plus 273.15. So 0 Celsius corresponds to 273.15 Kelvin. So when we say this box is 0 Celsius, there's really temperature there. It's not 0, it's 273. 273.15. So if this is twice as hot, what's twice times 273? Right? So 2 times 273.15, that's going to give you what? 6. This is going to be 0.3. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 7 is 14. 1. 2 times 2 is 4. 5. So twice as hot means the temperature in this guy is 546.3 Kelvin. Now, if I want to know what does that correspond to in the Celsius scale, then I subtract 273 again. So I say 546.3 is equal to Celsius plus 273.15. Then I subtract off 273 from there, and then I can convert back to Celsius, right? So you've got to convert to Kelvin, double it, and then convert back to Celsius. So if you subtract, what are you going to get? Well, since this was basically double that, right? When I subtract them, I'm basically going to end up with 273 again. Okay? So double 0 degrees Celsius happens to correspond to 273.15 Celsius. Who would have guessed, right? Very, very tricky question. So which of the choices? This is the answer, 273 Celsius, right? So what would you have done if it was 1 degree Celsius? Double 1 degree Celsius. Well, again, if someone was doing that, they would probably think 2 times 1 is 2, right? So they would put 2. So that's why that is there, 2 and 0. You know, those are there to throw you off. So what would you have done? Well, you would have added 1 to 273. You would get 274, right? Then you would double 274. You would get double 274. And then you would get 548. And then when you subtract 548, and then what would you get? And then you would get basically similar answer, but 8 minus 3 is 5. yeah, 8 minus 3 is 5. So the answer would have been 275.15. So double 1 degree Celsius is 275.15. Double 2, then you can see how to do all of those kinds of questions from now on. So you always convert to Kelvin, then double or triple or whatever you need to do to it, and then convert back to Celsius. Okay, thank you.